Hello and welcome to my presentation about teaching data-driven video processing via crowdsourced data collection. So machine learning is nowadays used in many computer graphics applications, such as neural rendering, and it is also finding its way into computer graphics courses. However, in today's classroom environment, mostly only pre-trained models or existing training datasets are used, which presents a limitation on the possible application scope and its quality. Machine learning is fundamentally data-driven, which means the easiest way to improve or even enable new applications is to collect more training data. But how can we collect more training data in a constrained environment such as a classroom? Obviously, annotating the data by the students themselves is infeasible if we think about common dataset sizes. The annotation by professionals, on the other hand, is too expensive. To remedy this, crowdsourcing marketplaces such as Amazon Mechanical Turk can be used to create annotation tools at a price point even affordable in a classroom environment. In crowdsourcing, however, there are three main challenges to overcome. One is designing an intuitive and efficient annotation tool. Second is preventing incorrect results, and third is achieving consistent and high quality. With respect to these challenges, we present a seminar concept which enables students to solve computer graphics problems in a data-driven manner in challenging domains such as video processing. In this seminar, the student implements an annotation tool, collects data using crowdsourcing, and then finally trains and applies a model to achieve a computer graphical effect. The focus on this presentation will be on the crowdsourcing aspect. We implemented our course concept in a master's seminar on image and video processing, where the time expenditure corresponds to roughly 100 hours of study time. We required our students to have completed basic computer graphics lectures and also have a basic understanding of machine learning. Our seminar consists of an introduction in which students are presented with related work and work out a roadmap. Then the project implementation, on which I will focus on later. And finally, they have to report their progress in a midterm and end-term presentation. We will discuss the practical aspects of the seminar on the basis of an exceptional student project to visualize contexts of a human with its environment. Here we gave the student a real-world inspirational example where an artist actually manually annotated such an effect. At the end of the seminar, we were able to automatically generate such annotations when the girl here is touching the floor, and this is done by collecting our own contact annotation dataset and training a model on it. This is a very good example of why we would want to collect our own dataset, because there was simply no existing annotations for human environment contexts. Our project implementation moves through several phases. First, we start with a task definition. So what do we annotate and why, and what are the model inputs and outputs? Based on this definition, we design and implement the annotation tool and then collect data and use this tool to generate our annotations on Amazon Mechanical Turk. We then evaluate the quality and filter results, and using this data set, we train a model and finally apply it to generate a computer graphical effect. So in this seminar concept, the student and supervisor work quite closely together. However, each has his own role and responsibility in each phase. The supervisor defines the initial task specification and together with the student then discusses the specifics so the student can bring in his own ideas. Based on this specification, the student implements a prototype. The supervisor gives feedback and suggestions which the student incorporates. The student also collects and prepares the source data, so for example the videos for the contact annotation, and finally also trains the model and applies a computer graphical effect. The supervisor, on the other hand, lends his technical machine learning expertise, suggests when it's time to move on to the next stage, and keeps an overall track of the progress. The supervisor can optionally also step in and help the student solve hard problems which might otherwise present a blocker in the process. So when we're designing the annotation tool, there are several aspects we have to balance. The first and probably the most important one is that workers are untrained and do not know about our problem domain. This means that the task definition has to be as clear as possible, for example, using a detailed tutorial. Second, the tool should enable accurate annotations, for example, pixel-precise segmentation masks. And third, the tool must be as efficient as possible to enable the worker to complete the task in the minimal amount of time possible, which in a budget-constrained environment means we can annotate more images. So here's an image of our first prototype for the annotation tool. As you can see, we can annotate different key points for feet and hand with a contact line and skip through different body parts which might not be in contact. So to increase the accuracy, we use well-known image editing metaphors such panning, zooming, and scaling. And also we use key point markers as a visual guide to the current body part. To increase the tool efficiency, we present the frames subsequently, which means, for example, if there was a contact in the last frame, the worker will have an easier time identifying a contact in the current frame. Also, we automatically zoom in on key points to not have the worker zoom in on every body part every time. With this initial tool, we conducted the first batch of annotations, and only 35% were correctly annotated. And here we can see some common mistakes. We speculate that many workers did not actually read the task definition and just simply annotated some kind of hand or feet annotation, which they might have known from other annotation tasks. So here we then actually have to make an tool design iteration to increase the rate of usable images. We implemented quality assurance in form of a qualification task. Here we first made the workers do a quiz to assess their task understanding, and then they had to complete an annotation task with 10 fixed images. We manually assessed the results and then either accepted or rejected these workers. We had a rejectance rate of about 80%. All in all, we collected 38,000 persons in 760 videos at a price point of $1,650. And the key observation here was that a few of the workers did most of the tasks, as we can see in the chart on the right, which was actually a positive thing, as we could give them individual feedback on their work, and we retained them using extra bonuses, if they matched our quality standards, of course. Here we can see the results of the different batches, where we at first had the initial prototype and then added on improvements such as key point correction and qualification task. As we can see on the right, both the quiz and key point correction as well as the qualification task led to a significant increase in usable annotation results. In this updated chart from the beginning, we can see the iterations we did on different phases. For example, we redesigned the tool 2 times and extended the data 1 time after evaluating the model on a partial data set. This actually also is one benefit of our holistic approach, because we can start training the model on a partial data set and then keep on extending data in the classes where that's needed. For example, we needed to extend data in simple walking and running classes to let the model learn the general concept of a contact before going on to the more complicated cases. Overall, the students spent the most time in the annotation tool design, followed by the data collection and the training of the model, as we can see here color-coded. We asked the student in a questionnaire if he thinks if data acquisition is a valuable part of a computer graphics curriculum, to which he replied that the quality of the data influences the results so profoundly that it is important to know how to acquire such data for training specific tasks. His key learnings from the project were that it is important to be precise and clear in the definition of annotation tasks, and also to make the annotation tool as unambiguously as possible to guide the workers to deliver accurate results. Also, making use of qualification tasks was important to obtain good training data. According to the student, the strength of this seminar is the holistic approach of using data acquisition and model training and application in one seminar, as well as the gained hands-on machine learning experience. Also, that it is not bound to existing models, and it also promotes graduate and undergraduate research because students are really working on novel problems. However, as a weakness, the higher technical risk of not achieving satisfactory results can be named versus just using a pre-trained model. Also, there are relatively high costs associated with the annotation still, and the process of the source data collection is quite tedious because the student and also the supervisor have to field large amount of data, and this also does not really infer much new knowledge to the student. And in the future, we want to evaluate this seminar in a larger context, and also mix it with synthetic data generation, which the students can implement to lower the cost of annotations even more. Thank you so much for listening. For further details, please check our paper, and I'm also looking forward to answer your questions now.